Okay, hi guys. Hope you can hear me well, right? Okay, so hopefully all of you had lunch and well settled. Okay, so basically, I want to first welcome partner in crime, Per Christian from Microsoft. So we work very closely. As you know, Microsoft is our tech partner, and I think talking about new tech, it's very interesting to share something what we are doing together. So anyway, welcome to this session. What we'll be trying to do is give you some very concrete use cases of how actually, thanks to new tech, we are solving day-to-day use cases, which is actually keeping our customers awake at night, right? Making it very practical. So having said that, let me share with you what we see as the burning platform. I'm sure all of you know that. But this is what our customers, our DSOs are facing every day, right? We are in this great conference in Enlit where we are having all these very interesting discussions. And here we try to summarize the 5 most compelling, let's say, aspects that we see which is really driving this burning platform. So what are they? You can see that talking about DER, the EV boom that's happening, some of the data, more than 101% influx of DER by 2040. EV is really booming. We cannot be in Enlit and not be talking flexibility, right? So flexibility is all over the place. You can see some of the data on flexibility, like massive, 2 times 2030, 7 times 2050. Extreme weather events and something leading to blackouts, and this is very real as we speak. Even in Italy, as you know, in some parts there is flooding that happened just a few days back. Where I live in France, south of France, there was heavy flooding. I actually have colleagues and friends in the US, in Florida, and different places where they were out of electricity for many days. So this is not something that we read just in the newspaper. This is affecting our lives as we speak. Aging asset workforce. So we keep hearing about this, but when we see some of the data, it's startling. It's like 70% of transmission lines, transformers, more than 25, 35 years old. That's massive. And almost 40% of our workforce is close to retirement. And last but not the least, we talk a lot about grids here, but let's not forget one of the biggest load that will come up thanks to all the data and all the usage we are doing around digitization is actually coming from data center. Yes, where we see a massive, massive growth of demand that will drive, let's say, this digitization story also much more compelling. So having said that, thought it would be interesting just to step back and just have a look at the full life cycle, the whole chain, and how from generation to transmission to distribution that you know well, to the DRs. So this is our the individual DRs we have, could be solar, wind farms, customers, so basically folks like you and me, and then behind the meter, right? So could be solar, rooftop, EV. And you can see how the data is exploding, basically, how the data is exploding. It's pretty interesting. This is really to scale based on the different usages we see. And this is some of the challenges we are facing that, and also very interesting is how the relationship between the data is getting more and more complex between the different usages. Another very interesting thing we can see is how new technology is scaling, right? So, as you all know, I think mobile phones that we all use, and basically we don't use mobile phones, right? We use smartphones now. But if you remember the old days of the mobile phone, it took like more than 15, 16 years to scale that everyone or big part of the world had it. Internet, it took 7 years to scale. Facebook, it took close to 4.5 years to scale. And of course, ChatGPT, which is one of the core Gen AI technology, took only 3 months to reach over 100 million users. So that's really showing how new technology is impacting our lives as we speak. So you saw the burning platform. You saw how new technologies are coming up. What I want to share with you is concretely what we think are the 3 new tech that is here today at scale to fight this burning platform. So the first I want to start with AI, right? So, and of course, I think, we were doing a word cloud of Enlit. What is one of the top word that came out in Enlit? I thought it was flexibility, but the word number two was AI, or maybe pretty close to flexibility, right? So what we discuss a lot is we should avoid what happened to sustainability 5 years back. It was a lot of green bashing, so we don't want to do AI bashing, right? So we want to use AI, as we say, where it makes sense. By the way, we in Schneider have been already using in our technology the earlier version of AI, let's call it traditional AI, already for many years. And of course, here we know that generative AI can really bring a lot of use cases, and I know Per Christian has some very interesting insights to share on that. But what I would say here is we see three compelling use cases where really AI can make a big difference. So what are they? The first one is the assistant control room. So basically, these are our friends, the operators, who are managing in a control center, as you know. And if you see the different data points, the different decisions they need to take, it's just amazing. Now, if they have some help, because let's make no mistake, AI is not here to replace human beings, right? We are here to help human beings to take those right decisions. This can be a big game changer. And also not to forget, we just saw the rate of, let's say, the skill shortages. So it's just not to help, but also on those skills shortages, because now with more digitization coming, of course, we will help a lot those control room operators. So that's one. Second is all about, let's say, future planning and tuning. So what does it mean? It means if you really look at the last 10, 15 years, the way we were doing planning of the grid has to fundamentally change in the future, right? We keep hearing a lot about all these investments we need to do, how we need to drive flexibility, but where is the planning for ultimately? Like, how do we sequence the different steps, knowing we are in bit of a VUCA world, right? In terms of solar, PV, it's very intermittent and it's changing. So we are doing a lot of scenario planning, and this is where AI can help us fundamentally get over the different algorithms and models that we had in the past. And this, I think, can really change how the planning of the grid will look in the future. And last, I think this is closest to my heart because this is something that's impacting all our lives. And I will actually demonstrate, before I leave, one concrete use case of how AI is actually helping us to do major event mitigation. So of course, this can be storm, could be flood, could be wildfire, but really how AI can help us predict and how we can be much more proactive when it comes to managing these kind of different events. So the next one, cloud, right? I would imagine that's also something we talk a lot. This is not new. We would argue, talking to many of our customers, DSOs, also in Europe, where we know this is quite a bit regulated market, we believe the future is what we say hybrid cloud. So what it simply means, it's a combination of certain applications which will still remain on-prem, which are, let's say, the more mission-critical applications. And then the other, let's call it less mission-critical, of course, goes to the cloud. And as you can see, going to the cloud can really bring a lot of flexibility, scalability. I can give you an example. We have lots of customers. We are doing DERMS project, DER penetration projects. And when we are starting, we don't know how much to size the hardware, right? So if you are on cloud, you can start with a certain use case scenario, and then you can scale as you need, and it gives you the right flexibility and the speed to go fast. And of course, we can do all this in perfect synchronization between on-prem and on cloud. And last, that's very exciting also, we saw all that data. We saw the different actors, we saw the burning platform. Having an integrated approach, a data-centric approach when it comes to architecture, we believe it will be fundamental to reduce deployment cost. Let's not forget that TOTEX matters. The total cost of ownership and the ROI will matter a lot. And of course, at the end, all this will help us fundamentally to de-silo, right? Because we've heard a lot that we need to break silos. We are still too much in our different silos in the different organizations we are in when it comes to processes and people, because having something that will bring process and people much faster together will help us get that velocity. So at this point, I'll take a step back and I'll invite Per Christian to share a few words on AI and also around cloud. You can hear Per Christian? No. You can come here, Per Christian. It's okay.
What about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks for inviting me on the topic of AI. We are the AI partner of Schneider Electric, and we are also the AI partner of Enlit. And it's no doubt that AI truly has a transformational potential, and you have touched upon a lot of the important topics here already. If you allow me to just take a step back and reflect a little bit of what we're hearing the utilities and the other energy companies here at Enlit and broadly as well is picking up and then also establishing projects around AI these days. I'll mention 5 different categories. First one being the workplace. Here we see that AI-enabled co-pilots is becoming kind of the buddy to all employees across the value chain for energy. One example, Uniper out of Germany, they have then activated co-pilots, AI-enabled co-pilots to every employee in the company. One example being their audit division that are doing audits across the world in different countries. They are seeing now that AI is helping them in the audit templates and the investigations, helping them to reduce their productivity or increase their productivity gains by 80%. The second one being customers. And you see a lot of customer conversations here across the floor here as well, with the flexibility as one key topic for that, where AI is also really front and center in terms of activating that flexibility at the demand side. The third one being business processes, and a good example where AI is contributing here is into the permitting processes. So here we have one example with Enel that is really working on leveraging AI, or already working leveraging AI in terms of getting an AI assessment for the environmental footprint of future projects that are really accelerating their permitting processes as well. And the fourth one being innovation, and this is an area where we truly believe that AI will bend the curve on the innovation. You have mentioned a few things. I will also just add material science, which is going to be crucial for the success of the energy transition that we all care about. Here we do see that AI is already contributing to reducing the time to get to new materials that are going into solar, into batteries, into EVs. We did a project earlier this year with PNNL, which is Pacific Northwest National Labs, that in days took 32 million materials candidates into 18 before they then went into the lab for the human validation of things. So that is taking that R&D project from lifetimes into days. And then fifth category where we truly collaborate is all around the assets and the infrastructure and flexibility. And this is also where we see the true benefit of Schneider Electric then starting to take and embed AI into your product portfolio as well.
Thank you. Very interesting insights, Per Christian. So if I just, for the sake of time, just quickly, I'll not go in the details, but we talked about the platform, right, as being a breakthrough. So here you can see how we are going from grid planning to grid operation to prosumer. Of course, working with third-party collaboration partners, having a common data model, standardized APIs, and really having that seamless integration between on-prem and edge. So what I wanted to highlight here is basically based on everything that you saw and everything you heard from me and Per Christian, I just wanted to leave you with one concrete, simple use case that we are already doing today. So this is an example coming from California. You know, we have very difficult wildfires happening there. I am actually part of my family living there, so I have heard real-time live how life is when these disasters happen. And this is a great example of how we partner with AI Dash, and thanks to AI, we are predicting preparing, responding to the disaster, and recovering, right? And thanks to the very stepwise approach, where we are anticipating few days before, when something is happening few hours before, while it's happening, and then of course the recovery path, we could actually mitigate up to 90% on the risk reduction. So this is just to leave you an example of what we bring thanks to the new tech. Of course, I'll not go in the details, but we have several other examples across the world that we are really helping our customers to drive this energy transition. And I would say, please, for more questions, visit us in the demo. The Schneider Electric team will be super excited to show you concrete examples of what we are doing. Technology and innovation exist. Let's adapt. And as we say, energy transition is a team sport, right? So we were playing the game together. As you see, we need more partners, and that's how we will make it together. And I would like to leave by also thanking Bloomberg, because I think thanks to them, we have this very interesting discussion. And thank you all for your attention. See you guys.
I would like to check if anybody has a question for Schneider on generative AI, anything that they have spoken about. If not, I would like to ask you something. When we talk about artificial intelligence, it's not often, we talk about how it can help us solve any issues. Do you see also artificial intelligence and the power that it needs as a threat to the system, or are you more positive? What are your thoughts?
So that's an ongoing debate we have with our customers, with our colleagues, with our friends. Here I can see some of our colleagues. We were having this debate just yesterday. So I would say that, at the end of the day, we are using the technology, right? So the way we use it has a big impact on what will be the outcome. Now, of course, when I say we will also have people who could misuse it in the wrong way. And here I would even argue we could go back to the origin of the internet itself, just not AI, right? All this data, all this internet. And today, if we look at overall, I would answer by saying, let's look at the last 10, 15 years of this internet, let's say, boom that we had, and ask ourselves the question, was it something that we really benefited? Start from the Uber app, start from Netflix, start from FaceTime. I'm away traveling all the time. I can talk to my daughter every day, see her. So I would argue that it has revolutionized our lives. Now, of course, I know that ourselves, Schneider, I know our partner like Microsoft, we are spending billions of R&D to make sure all this technology stays safe. So I would argue that, yeah, we see more pros than cons, but we have to remain very vigilant. And last I would say is regulation has to be very strict on this regulation, because people need to understand that if they play with the technology in a wrong way, they will have serious consequences. So that's what I would say, yeah.
Thank you very much for your thoughts.